Good evening and welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of June 24th, 2024. I now call the meeting to order, and if you'd please stand, we'll all say the Pledge of Allegiance together. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. Anna, voice roll call, please.
Chair Arith.
Present.
Vice Chair Toller.
Here.
Commissioner Rojas.
Present.
Commissioner Zick.
Here.
Commissioner Andrade.
Here.
Commissioner Klepak.
Here.
Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
All right, thank you. I see we have everyone tonight. No announcements or presentations this evening to kick us off, which brings us to public comments for matters that are not listed on tonight's agenda. Public comments will be heard at this time on items that are, again, not listed on the agenda but are within our jurisdiction. We'll now open the public comment, and if you'd like to speak, please come to the either podium. And if you're participating via Zoom, use the raised hand option, or if you're joining the meeting on your phone and you'd like to speak, you can press *9. Anyone in chambers wish to speak on non-agendized items? I see a lot of head shaking. No. All right, Anna, Zoom or telephone?
No, there's not, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. I'll now close public comments, which brings us to Planning Commissioner comments and suggestions, starting with Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank the fire department and our adjacent agencies for their quick response to the fire at Fairview Park. Very thankful that they got that under control very quickly. Speaking of parks, the Parks and Community Services Commission is having a special meeting on Thursday where they're presenting plans for Shalimar and Ketchum-Liebold parks and an update on the Fairview Park Master Plan. So I'm very interested in seeing what those plans for our two pocket parks are. And tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Kaiser Elementary School, there will be a community meeting for bike lanes on Santa Ana. So I encourage anyone who is interested to attend. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Martinez. Commissioner Klepak?
Nothing for me.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Rojas?
I have nothing. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Zick?
Nothing.
Commissioner Andrade?
None at the moment, thanks.
Vice Chair?
I would just remind everybody as well. Commissioner Martinez just said it, but tomorrow night there's a very important meeting at Kaiser Elementary School. It's about the bike lane gap right in front of the school, and the city is considering closing that gap so the kids can get to school safely. So I encourage everybody that rides on Santa Ana, which is a hugely popular bike route in town, or has loved ones that ride in that lane, to show up tomorrow night, Kaiser Elementary School, 6 p.m. to have your voice heard.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair Toller. I have nothing to report this evening, so we'll go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. I see we have one consent calendar item tonight. I'll mention that all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the Planning Commission, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar. For discussion, items removed from the consent calendar will be discussed and voted upon immediately following Planning Commission action on the remainder of the consent calendar. And if you would, Anna, please read the title.
Consent calendar item number 1, minutes, June 10th, 2024, unofficial meeting minutes.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, any comments? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion?
Move to approve.
I'm not seeing it on my motion made by Vice Chair Toller.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Okay, seconded by Martinez. Any comments?
No.
No.
Okay, all right. Commissioners, any other comments on minutes? Seeing none, Anna, if we call the question.
That motion carries 6-0 with Commissioner Andrade abstaining.
All right, thank you. This brings us to our public hearings. We have one item this evening, and Anna, if you'd please read the title for public hearing item number 1.
Public hearing item number 1, planning application 22-23 for a conditional use permit to operate a retail cannabis storefront business with delivery located at 2905 Red Hill Avenue, Terra Firma. Please note we have not received public comments on this item. This is a call for any ex parte communications.
All right, thank you, Anna. Starting to my right, Commissioner Rojas, any ex parte?
I have none.
Commissioner Zick? Commissioner Andrade?
Yes, I got to attend Terra Firma's open house.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair?
No.
All right, Commissioner Klepek?
Yes, I met with the applicant on May 25th, and I also toured their distribution facility on Cadillac Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Martinez?
Yes, I met and toured with the applicant on May 21st.
Okay, thank you. And I have nothing to report. Now I'll turn it over to Ms. Halligan to present the item. Ms. Halligan.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Arith and Commissioners. I'm Michelle Halligan, Senior Planner with the Economic and Development Services Department. The item before you is a request for a conditional use permit to establish a retail cannabis storefront with delivery known as Terra Firma. Costa Mesa has approved 23 CUPs for retail cannabis storefronts. 11 storefronts have obtained the permits needed to open. These are shown in green, but at this time, 10 of the 11 are operating. There are also 12 approved storefronts under construction or in plan check, shown in purple. If the CUP is approved tonight, it would move on to refining the plan and then applying for building permits. The applicant successfully completed the initial steps, including a pre-application, then the cannabis business permit application, before submitting this CUP application. The proposed storefront would be located at 2905 Red Hill Avenue, a two-story, 3,300 square foot commercial building in the Bristol Village Plaza Shopping Center. The subject property is Zone C1, which is the local business district. Other C1 zoned properties are located to the west and south. Properties zoned Planned Development Industrial and Industrial Park are located to the north and east across State Route 73. The site was developed as part of the Bristol Village Plaza. Here's a photo of the two-story, 3,300 square foot building as viewed from the interior of the shopping center. On the lower right is a view of the subject building from Red Hill Avenue, looking west into the shopping center. The applicant proposes to, I want to just take a moment to go back and look at the site plan. I skipped ahead. So this is an overview of the Bristol Village Plaza Shopping Center. You can see that there are multiple entrances on Bristol Street, as well as ingress and egress on Red Hill Avenue. So the subject site is located at that corner of Red Hill Avenue closest to State Route 73. The applicant proposes to improve the building to meet current building and safety codes, as well as update the facade with new windows, doors, awnings, and paint. Other proposed exterior improvements include removing unpermitted fencing and installing fencing that complies with the city standards, creating a landscape front setback with at least two 24-inch box trees, enhancing the landscaped planters. A conceptual landscaping plan would be refined during plan check. They would also construct an exterior employee break area enclosed by a 6-foot-tall fence and install at least one publicly accessible bike rack and at least one employee-only bike rack. They would also install security lighting and surveillance cameras. A preliminary photometric plan was provided and will be refined during the plan check process. This is the proposed floor plan. It includes two major areas, the retail sales area and the employee-only areas. The retail sales area is shown in green, and this includes a lobby where customers will have their identification and age verified. The red areas of the building are access controlled, meaning that only employees with proper security clearance can enter. The entire second floor is proposed to be access controlled, and vendors would only be able to enter the access controlled areas when accompanied by staff that has security clearance. All product loading and unloading would take place under video surveillance, and a loading zone is located towards the rear of the subject parcel. The applicant also provided a professionally prepared security plan, which was reviewed by the city's cannabis consultant. They determined that appropriate security measures were taken to address city and state requirements. There are more than 45 standard conditions of approval related to Measure Q uses. For example, odor control, on-site consumption is prohibited, and there are age restrictions for both customers and employees. And there is a renewal process for the cannabis business permit every 2 years. This project would also be subject to a specific condition of approval prohibiting smoking of any kind in the employee break area. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution to find that the project is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act per CEQA Guidelines Section 15301, Class 1, Existing Facilities, and approve Planning Application 22-23, subject to conditions of approval and code requirements. This concludes staff's presentation. The applicant and their agent have also prepared a presentation. I'm available to answer your questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Halligan. Great presentation. Colleagues, do you have any questions for staff on this item? All right, I think I may have a few, Ms. Halligan. So bear with me, I'll just turn page by page. I see that we have 40-foot distance with loading, unloading for delivery of cannabis. Can you please explain a little bit more about the security between the facility and where there would be loading, unloading, given that fairly sizable distance?
Sure, Chair Erth. So the applicant is proposing to use a loading zone that's located on the south end of the parcel. So that the pathway from that loading zone to the facility would be under camera surveillance. So though it is 40 feet, it's entirely under camera surveillance, which is our standard as well as the state standard.
Okay, thank you. If you turn to page 7 of the agenda, first paragraph, towards the bottom of the first paragraph, you'll see language about what is included or excluded as far as a quote activity area. And it says here that the parking area is not included as an activity area. If you could please just explain that a little bit for public knowledge.
Sure. So this is part of the staff report where we're discussing the licensed premise. And so when we refer to the premise, we're referring to the facility that has the permits. And in this case, when it comes to cannabis activity from the state, the permit is only to have cannabis activities in that building. So even though there's loading and unloading that occurs outside, that's not considered cannabis activity. So the standards and conditions you see for the cannabis storefront are within that building.
Okay, thank you. If we turn to page 12 of staff agenda, we look at the first bullet point at the bottom in the security plan section. It says, at least one security guard will be on site during business operation unless otherwise directed by the chief of police to maintain a security guard 24 hours per day. So is this to imply that with the new rule changes from council that PD took a position to not have 24-hour on-site security?
Chair Erth, that is correct. We did discuss the site. They were comfortable, or PD was comfortable without having 24-hour security at the site until there is some sort of an incident or issue on the site in which they can revisit it. Planning did suggest, well, maybe we would come up with a compromise, some sort of in-between. But ultimately, they were comfortable with the site going without 24-hour security at this time.
Okay, thank you. And it's to my understanding that that rule change is just loosely, well, not loosely, but kind of specifically geared towards proximity to residential. And in this particular case, this site is fairly, it's distanced from residential.
Chair Erth, yes, PD has expressed a concern about facilities that are next to or adjacent to residential, and in this case, they are over 250 feet from residential uses.
Okay.
But that would not be the only reason why the chief of police may choose to have 24-hour security, but we know it is something that they've considered.
Okay, thank you. And if we turn to the page 15, you'll see a discussion at the top and in the second paragraph related to how the TIF is calculated, or the ADT and traffic impact fees. And if you could just kind of give the public some broad strokes on how you could have a project that requires no traffic study, but also has a calculation for a traffic impact fee like this one.
Chair Arith, so in Costa Mesa, our transportation division reviews the project. They take into account the previous use and that trip generation. Then they look at the proposed use in that trip generation. And so here in Costa Mesa, we have a threshold that a traffic impact study would be required for development projects anticipated to generate 100 or more vehicle trip-ins during a peak hour. In this case, the project did not meet the threshold. However, due to the change in use, there would be an increase in trips, and therefore they are assessing a traffic impact fee.
Okay, thank you. That's a great overview. I appreciate that, Ms. Halligan. If we go towards the bottom of that same page and we look at Land Use Policy 1.1, I know in the past we've discussed this at least somewhat academically, but just also for the public's knowledge, if you could, or Director Drapkin, if you want to come in too, just to kind of explain staff's position on what is considered a balance of opportunities for the business and residential segments of the community. In this particular case, we have a retail cannabis operator that wants to take over a facility that's already occupied by existing businesses, albeit there are already a couple that have moved on since then, but there is one that's currently operating. And staff's viewpoint on when you have one use versus multiple uses in the same building, how you would justify that verbiage in Land Use 1.1 as far as the balance aspect.
Thank you, Chair. The staff doesn't have any per se thresholds to determine balance, so to speak. The Planning Commission in the past have mentioned concerns when they're in close proximity. This is, in these scenarios, staff brings it to the attention that previous decisions were made based on these scenarios. However, in this situation, clearly this project is not within location to any close proximity to interfere with this provision for the land use element 1.1.
All right. Thank you, Director Drapkin. I appreciate that. For the sake of conversation, let's turn to the next page, page 16, Objective Land Use Policy 6B, which towards the bottom of that paragraph, or the consistency finding, it says business operations that would expand the city's revenue base. Can we have a quick discussion on how retail cannabis is an expansion of the tax base as compared to what would otherwise be multiple businesses contributing to the tax base in this city?
Chair Arith, our retail cannabis businesses are subject to a 7% tax that is unique to retail cannabis businesses. So even though we do have several that have been approved, because this entire retail industry has a unique tax, staff does believe that it would expand the city's revenue.
Okay, thank you. If we turn to the conditions of approval, page 11, number 28, under inspection, it says inspections on the cannabis business by the city will be conducted at a minimum on a quarterly basis, and the applicant will pay for the inspections according to the adopted fee schedule. Do you notice the applicant before dropping by, or are these unannounced visits?
Chair Arith, I would need to check in with code enforcement. So that's part of our community improvement division. I'm aware of both announced and unannounced inspections.
Okay, thank you. If we turn to the next page, page 12, fourth bullet point down under 5, under the plan check, it says a permanent bike rack that is publicly accessible and a bike rack that is accessible to employees only. It's not like I'm, big on bike racks, but why bifurcate it for two different uses? Why not just have both of them accessible to anybody who wants to use them?
Chair Arith, there's a lot of space on this property that they want to protect from the public to make sure they have secured access, especially on the side with State Route 73. And so they did want to provide more bicycle parking, but provide security as well. So that's why they've separated some of their staff parking.
Okay. All right. I think that's about it for me as far as staff questions for the moment. I will have some questions for the applicant when you all come up. But Ms. Halligan, thank you very much. Does anyone else want a chance at staff questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Halligan. I will now open the public hearing and ask the applicant or their representative to come forward. You're welcome to come to either podium. And if you will, please do three things for me. If you could, please state your name, if you've read the conditions of approval, and do you agree to them?
Yes. Hi, my name is Kimber Ward. Yes, we have read the conditions of approval, and yes, we agree to them.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ward. The floor is all yours if you'd like to make a presentation.
Thank you. So good evening, commissioners, staff, and Costa Mesa residents. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our project. My name is Kimber Ward, and I'm representing Terra Firma Costa Mesa LLC. Next slide, please. We propose opening a cannabis retail store nestled in the Bristol Village Shopping Plaza located at 2905 Red Hill Avenue. This location is a standalone building at the intersection of Red Hill Avenue and Bristol Street. The map you see depicts a currently operating and approved CUP cannabis retail locations as of March 2024. Our location is approximately 0.7 miles from the nearest operating cannabis retailer, and the next closest with an approved CUP is over a mile away. Our location is well outside the areas on Harbor and Newport that have a substantial concentration of this use, meaning we will not be situated in an already concentrated area. The nearest residential neighborhood is approximately 0.2 miles away. When scouting locations, we strategically chose this plaza as it is positioned away from residential areas, ensuring that Terra Firma's addition will not impact local neighborhoods. Instead, it will enhance the commercial vitality of the area, attracting more visitors and offering unique retail options. I would like to note that though we are not required to meet the standards of the new ordinance, this location does in fact meet them. Next slide. I would like to introduce our leadership team before we get into the details of the project. Shauna Droege is an original Measure X operator and has been a valued partner to the city from the outset. As a pioneer in the industry, she possesses extensive experience in owning and operating several cannabis enterprises, ranging from retail locations to fully integrated manufacturing and distribution facilities. With the addition of Terra Firma's retail location, Shauna will operate a vertically integrated business funnel within Costa Mesa city limits. Beyond her professional achievements, she is a dedicated mother who ensures that her children both understand her career and its responsibilities. She has taught them the importance of safety surrounding cannabis and is particularly passionate in keeping children safe from improper access to cannabis. Her dedication to community engagement is evident through her leadership in company-sponsored events that positively impact nearby neighborhoods, including beach and park cleanups, as well as support for the Susan B. Komen Foundation and other charitable organizations. Matthew Prim is a true Orange County native, born at Hoag Hospital and educated in the county where he also earned his law degree. Matt has deep roots in the cannabis industry as well. Since 2015, he and his family have owned and operated a vertically integrated cannabis company in Nevada. He also holds several cultivation licenses and oversees a multi-acre cultivation project in Humboldt County. Previously, Matt managed the cannabis legal practice at Bramer, White, Brown, and O'Meara. His unique blend of legal expertise and hands-on industry experience makes him a valuable asset to the cannabis community in Costa Mesa. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, our goal is to create a modernized retail cannabis experience in a standalone building. Currently, the building is not compliant with building codes, and our project aims to revitalize this this structure, transforming it into a modern, compliant retail space dedicated to providing high-quality cannabis products. Here you can see the sleek, modern design we proposed for the building. It will feature a tasteful frosted glass storefront to prevent direct visibility into the store by individuals who are not eligible for retail cannabis sales. In support of Costa Mesa's sustainability efforts, we plan to overhaul the surrounding landscaping. Our design incorporates sustainable California native plants with low water needs throughout the site. Next slide, please. As you can see, the first floor features a customer check-in area, a modernized retail floor, secured storage rooms, a break room, and accessible restrooms. The second floor is currently configured with offices and can accommodate additional cannabis storage if needed for future delivery operations. Next slide, please. Our project is strategically located away from residential areas to minimize impact on local neighborhoods and mitigate access of cannabis to those not eligible for retail sales. We are committed to partnering with the city to promote financial success for Costa Mesa residents. Our project will generate employment opportunities in retail sales, security, administration, management, and delivery services. As a current operator and one of the largest contributors to the Measure X tax revenue for the city, we expect to significantly contribute to Costa Mesa's financial resources with this project as well. We are committed to enhancing the plaza and will implement robust odor prevention systems to effectively address any public nuisance concerns. Terra Firma aims to support the local economy, cultural initiatives, and provide a safe, compliant, and appealing environment for consumers. We plan to enhance Costa Mesa's City of the Arts reputation with a mural facing the 73 freeway. This mural will reflect our Costa Mesa pride and will be created in collaboration with local artists adhering to all city codes. Next slide, please. Our retail space will feature a sleek, elegant showroom designed to normalize and enhance the cannabis shopping experience. The design incorporates modern displays and informative signage, creating a welcoming atmosphere that complies with local regulations and safety standards. We have integrated the showroom's design into the community aesthetic of Costa Mesa, emphasizing sustainable practices as energy-efficient lighting and eco-friendly materials wherever possible. Additionally, we will include educational displays to inform consumers about cannabis products and responsible use. As a vertically integrated company operating entirely within city limits, we're dedicated to providing Costa Mesa products to local residents, thereby fostering community engagement and pride. True to the company's name, we're dedicated to continuing to firmly plant our roots in Costa Mesa. Next slide, please. We are committed to being a complementary addition to the Bristol Village Shopping Plaza. This includes beautifying and updating the current building, addressing safety concerns, and updating the non-conforming fencing on the corner of Red Hill Avenue to improve visibility and safety for patrons and pedestrians. Our comprehensive improvements will enhance overall safety and security by bringing the building up to code, installing advanced lighting fixtures, contemporary facades, and carefully curated landscaping. Our safety strategy includes deploying trained security personnel equipped with state-of-the-art systems to protect customers, employees, and neighboring businesses. We comply with local and state cannabis regulations through rigorous staff trainings and protocols. Our security infrastructure features comprehensive surveillance systems, advanced access controls, upgraded exterior lighting, and robust alarm systems, collectively fortifying the shopping plaza's safety. Our goal is to exceed safety standards, creating a secure and welcoming environment to all plaza patrons. Next slide, please. Our project focuses on minimizing plaza traffic congestion through strategic initiatives. By repurposing businesses within our building, we will reduce parking durations, keeping adjacent spots available to additional patrons. To note, the previous landscape design tenant already relocated out of state, and the hair salon on the lower floor has already ceased operations. We will exceed city parking requirements and install multiple bike racks to promote alternative transportation. In our efforts to reduce car dependency, we will incentivize alternative modes of transportation for both patrons and staff. Our team will offer discounts and establish partnerships with rideshare companies to encourage patrons to utilize these services instead of driving solo. This initiative aims to alleviate traffic congestion in the plaza while promoting sustainable commuting options. To enhance visibility and pedestrian safety, we will bring all fencing to code and construct a new safe sidewalk along our storefront. These improvements prioritize safety and contribute to a more inviting environment for pedestrians and cyclists. Thank you again for the opportunity to present our project. We very much appreciate all of the staff's efforts, and we are happy to provide any additional insight or answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. It's a great presentation. Colleagues, do you have any questions for the applicant? Starting with Commissioner Zick.
Thank you. The mural that you're contemplating, have you already designed that?
No, so we will work with within the city limits and all of the signage requirements.
Okay, and then you talked about your leadership team.
Yes.
Is Shauna Droge here?
Yes.
Okay, and is Matthew Prim here? Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Zick. Anyone else? Commissioner Andrade.
Love the kind of reface that you'll give the building. It looks definitely inviting and much more open. And it looks like quite a meaningful upgrade that needs to be done on, I guess, what would be the patio area. And also like hearing from Ms. Halligan, the timeline on how many CUPs have been approved and then how many are in construction. So like, what do you guys foresee to be your timeline from approval to opening, considering the construction that needs to be done?
I mean, that's all dependent on building permits and building permit processes. This has been a 3-year-long project already, so we are definitely incentivized to get up and operational as soon as possible. So it really just kind of depends on the building permit process.
Yeah, awesome. Also really exciting to hear about traffic alternatives, right? Alternatives modes of transportation. That was something new that I haven't heard in some of the applications that we've seen. Can you maybe share a little bit about those partnerships?
Yeah, so our plan, like I said, is to incentivize anybody that's using any alternative modes of transportation. So being in a bike, we can definitely immediately see you pulled up on a bike, we can give you a discount. It's the same thing with that. As far as ride shares go, we can actually work with them to build out a code so that it promotes any sort of ride share users.
Awesome. I think that's it for now. Thank you. Oh, one last question. Everywhere in the application, and I don't know if this is maybe a staffing thing that I'm not aware of, but we are listing terra firma everywhere in the application, but your mock-up shows wild weeds. Is that was just for the pictures, or what would the actual name be?
So our goal is to eventually submit a DBA that we would operate under. Wild Weeds was a name that we're workshopping. It's going to be working with the city attorneys to make sure that they're okay with that, and we won't move forward with any sort of naming conventions until we come to an agreement with the city.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know for sure that's something we'll take into account. There's the naming, whatever the final naming convention is, so that it's up to code. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrade. Good point. Anyone else? All right. Along the same lines, what does wildly high mean?
I'm going to defer to the applicant.
Okay. I can start with a softer question. Are you any relation to John DuPont, by the way?
I heard that there's only one DuPont family, but
Yeah.
I must have been exiled out of it.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
here I am.
I didn't know if you're in the presence of royalty here. So, yes, ma'am.
I wish. It's just a fun play on the name. We were doing mock-ups. We did these 3 years ago. We're debating what we want to name the store. And for the mock-ups, we decided Wild Weeds, and it was just a fun play on the name.
Yeah. Got
Let's get wild and wildly high.
Okay,
Yeah.
wildly high. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. So one of my colleagues here, specifically Commissioner Zick, early on when we started hearing cannabis CUPs, asked a really good question. It always stuck with me since then. He asked some of the first applicants, well, what's your competitive advantage in a market that clearly we've approved approximately 25 brick and mortar facilities in addition to many others who are in the delivery business, and how you would envision differentiating yourself so that you can succeed as a business.
So we do have distribution and manufacturing for Measure X on Cadillac and Costa Mesa. We do make our own products, which will be exclusive to our stores. So the only place you could get the product is at our store. We have products that are different than other people's products, such as bath bombs and lubes, and just basically different products, differently branded, that would be exclusive to our stores. And also, do you want to talk about the
No, sure. Well, and vertical integration allows you to have larger margins just across the board, not just cannabis specific. So because we do have other parts of that vertical integration already in place, that would allow us to benefit even more from that. And then as has been shown, luckily for us, we have a pretty good proximity distance from any other competition.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Let's see here. I think Commissioner Andrade beat me to the punch on the mural. I think we'll revisit that a little bit later. Just additional questions about what the potential design would be, but it sounds like it's still in pre-workshop phase, just throwing it out as an option. So we can discuss that a little bit later. As far as there's one tenant that's still in operation on this site, is that correct?
Correct.
There's actually two tenants in right now.
Two, okay.
One was a holdover from, prior to us being in the application queue. The most recent came in recently knowing that it could be a month-to-month type of scenario.
Okay, so yeah, my overall question would be, what has the noticing been like for the current tenants, and do they know that this is coming? And was there any discussion of when they would be noticed, or if there would be any kind of incentive or something along those lines? I'm just asking general questions.
Yeah. So there is I'm not sure exactly what they notice, how many months we have to give them a heads up. I mean, we can obviously be as fair as we would want to be. There's already been compensation worked out to help them move to a new location as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. And then let's see here. I'll go to your applicant letter. I forget which attachment it was. I think it was attachment 2. Second page. It's the first paragraph. It says, Terra Firma Costa Mesa LLC is dedicated to fostering meaningful connections with the community through strategic partnerships with local organizations, engagement in civic initiatives, and proactive involvement in environmental stewardship. We seek to leave a lasting positive imprint on the fabric of Costa Mesa. And I was hoping you'd be able to expand on that a bit in terms of what your vision is like for those partnerships and involvements in the broader community.
So being an existing Measure X operator, Shauna and her team have already done a really good job of planting roots and working as a partner with the city. That's what we strive to do with this project as well. So we would definitely want to be involved in any of the organizations that we can be. We're already involved in the Chamber of Commerce, so just kind of fostering those relationships.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have any further questions right now, but there may be a couple more that pop up on the dais here. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome to take a seat. I will now open up for public comments. If there's anyone in chambers who wishes to speak to this item, you're welcome to come to either podium. You'll have 3 minutes, and at the 1 minute mark, you'll hear a little chime, and then it'll cut you off at 3 minutes. Is there anyone in chambers who wishes to speak on this? Yes, ma'am. Come on down. Win a prize.
Hi, my name is Olivia Sawyer. I actually have been mentored by Shauna for my entire career. I got into cannabis many, many years ago with a dream to change the world with this plant, and she has just been an incredible mentor to me. And I just wanted to come up here and say that my brand, Kush Queen, which is manufactured in her facility, I wouldn't exist in this space if it would not be for this woman and the way that she has invested in me and our family and our business and my dream. And I just wanted to come up as a character witness and speak on their behalf that they really are the people in this community that you want to invest in. our industry, it has been so tumultuous. You guys have brought up a number of times how many people cannot get open, how many people cannot win. And I believe that this is going to be a successful project because they actually are making products. We're making products in this community. We live here. And I really just wanted to say that they're the right people. And there's no possible way that this dispensary is going to fail because this is their life's work. And they're not the same type of corporations that are trying to come in and pillage our community and pillage this plant. They really are real people. Shauna marched in the Pride Parade with me probably 25 years ago, and her work isn't just about the community itself in Costa Mesa, but it's about being a part of a better world, and she's a great mother, and she's exactly the kind of person that I aspire to be in this life, so thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else in chambers wish to speak to this item? Yeah, we can come to either side. If you feel like speaking, we can go ahead and queue up and we'll give you your time. Yes, sir.
I'll mix it up and use this microphone. Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and staff. My name is Charles Baldwin, and I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to hear me this evening. I'm just here to put my support out for Shauna and Matt Prim here and their project on Bristol. I think the CUP process is an interesting one for cannabis. A lot of times I think cities miss this opportunity to have the real one-on-one engagement with applicants and project-specific approvals. And in this case, I think this project is particularly well-suited for the city. As you guys know, you're starting to feel maybe a little bit overrun with cannabis dispensaries with so many of these coming through. And I noticed on your map there was concentration of dispensaries, some even just a stone's throw from each other. And so I think this is really an example of this process working for the better. These people have selected a location that is far removed from everybody else, both physically and traffic-wise. It has ample parking. It's a standalone building, so it's much easier to maintain security. And so there's a lot of benefits to this project over many of the other projects that have already been approved. So again, just want to provide my support to this project. I think it's well suited, it's well thought out, it's well planned, and very capable leaders within the organization to execute it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else in chambers? Yeah, come on down. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Honorary Council, Chair, Vice Chair, staff. My name is Daisuke Hanaoka. I am not a part of Terraform in any capacity, but I do work with Jeff and Shauna Droege in the manufacturing distribution facility off of Cadillac. I'm part of the leadership team there. I wanted to just voice my support for this project, not just as an operator that works in line with them, but as a true believer in the work that they do. I've been working with Jeff and Shauna my entire career in licensed cannabis, and speak very sincerely in the firsthand experience in that Shauna, as somebody that I work with very closely, has done nothing but work with the utmost respect of law, legality, and regulation, which is, in its simplicity, one of the major separators as to how she is and how Jeff are as operators in the industry. To also pseudo-respond to you, Commissioner Zick, I think there was a question as to what competitive advantages we have in this very volatile California cannabis market. I think that being legacy operators in this industry, we've had a lot of firsthand exposure to the ups and downs, and a little bit to what Olivia had mentioned with these larger corporations and coming in with little to no community engagement, with no understanding of some of those strategic relations that help real, true organic growth and success thrive in a community, is something that Shauna has been an expert at. And so as somebody like myself, who is part of the manufacturing team and heads all product development and manufacturing, I could say firsthand that we take the business cases to all of the products to not just, one, differentiate them, but also have the best margins possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Anna, do we have anyone on Zoom or telephone?
No, we do not, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the public hearing and ask my colleagues if you have any further questions for the applicant, starting with Commissioner Zick. Oh, okay. Just saw your light on. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Commissioner Andrade.
I only got to, like I mentioned early on, to join the community event for a very small sliver of the time, but I know there was 2 sessions, so I would love to hear, like, what was the community feedback, you know, positive, negative, excited, what did you guys all hear?
To be honest, there really wasn't much fanfare there. Certainly, no pitchforks or anything like that either, and yeah, I mean, much ado about nothing, frankly.
We did actually hand deliver all of our invitations, and I would say out of everybody, some of them thought we were trying to sell them something and just wanted us to carry on, but it was excitement from them and people wanting jobs, actually. So, yeah,
So
it's positive.
You were able to go door to door and reach
We
out
did,
to folks
in
and connect
our
with some folks.
500
Okay.
feet, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those were also mailed out to everybody as well.
Which is great to know. That's such a good standard best practice. So
yes.
You mentioned a little bit about the business that's currently there. They're being supported with some bit of compensation to move out. Would you mind expanding on that, on how you're supporting that small business?
Yes, so we're acquiring the property, the real property, and the current owner, after discussing timelines with us and the nature of how important this is to the city, worked out. They were his tenants at the point in time anyway, so they worked out a financial. I think they're getting around $50,000 or something like that to help them move into a new location.
Great to know. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrade. Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Actually, I'll ask, do you have any closing comments as well after everything y'all have heard?
No, I mean, we're just excited to be here. It's been a little bit of a trek, and anyway, yeah, just happy to move into the next phase and look forward to an approval of our project.
Okay. Let me ask you one last question before you sit down. From the time that you submitted the application to the city, how long has it taken you till this point?
2.5 years?
Nearly 3 years.
I think in August it will be 3 years.
3 years. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Sure. Yeah. Our pleasure.
Sure. Colleagues, do you have any further questions for staff? Starting with Commissioner Zick.
Could you explain the formal approval process for the mural?
Sure, Commissioner Zick. There was not a condition of approval for the mural. It wasn't part of the design package, but the commission could choose to include one or not, because regardless, a mural has to be approved through a separate process from the CUP. So you would not be reviewing a draft mural design tonight. They would have to submit a draft to staff. We'll work with them on the draft design and then make arrangements with our Arts Commission.
So the final approval would be Arts Commission, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then my other question, in the applicant presentation, they spoke about one aspect of their business in sort of a positive light, where they talked about, in terms of parking, reduced number of long-duration parking. My question is, to me, what that means is more trips. And the question is that additional trip count something that is actually calculated, or is trip count simply based on the use category?
Commissioner Zick, when transportation reviewed the project, they looked at the existing use and compared it to the proposed. So they did look at the additional trips, which is why they are charging a traffic impact fee, but there were not enough trips to warrant a study. What we've found with cannabis businesses is that there may be more trips, but they're shorter in duration.
So there is a different factor for the trips for cannabis business than other retail businesses?
So transportation ended up using the ITE manual trip generation rate for pharmacies with a drive-through.
Got it. Okay.
Thanks.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Zick. Anyone else? Commissioner Klepek.
Yeah, I was just curious. I see that there's a mention of crime prevention through environmental design techniques. Could you give a couple examples of what that might entail?
Sure. So when planning's reviewing a proposed cannabis storefront, especially when it's this sort of final pass, we're starting to look more into the details of their fencing and their lighting. So what you'll see in this application is a preliminary photometric study. But if the CP is approved, then we go into it in more detail and start to look at, is the lighting shielded in the way that it needs to be for security? Is the fencing designed in a way that will support that security? And are we missing any details, even with landscaping and looking at those potential heights, especially of bushes? Like, are we creating spaces that are hiding spaces? We don't get into that level of detail, though, until a project's been approved and is in plan check.
Great, thank you. And I just had a comment. I was really happy to see the conditions about deliveries not stopping in the middle of the street, because I see so much of that in my neighborhood and it's really dangerous. So I'm happy that that's mentioned here. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Klepek. Anyone else? All right. I'll now close the public hearing, and before we move on to a motion, I figure we might have just a quick chat. It seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, there is no formal condition of approval that stipulates that the Arts Commission will be the decision body on the mural. Is that correct, Ms. Halligan, or am I mistaken?
That's correct. I did not propose that condition. I wasn't aware that they were working on a mural.
Okay.
But I want to see if Assistant Director Dropkin knows if they're meeting anytime soon, or if not. Because if they're not going to be meeting, we might have to come up with an alternative. But typically, it would be the Arts Commission.
Okay. Director Dropkin, if I may, do you believe that it's appropriate if we condition this so that the Arts Commission might be the decision body on the design, as long as it conforms as well to the city's artistic guidelines?
Yeah, I do. I believe that that the Arts Commission is the perfect agency to review the art being proposed on the building that was mentioned tonight. There is no current provisions in the code for the Arts Commission review currently. That is something that's on the books to be reviewed for, and it would be part of that Arts Commission review, either as a final approval authority or a recommendation body. But in either situation, I would say that the Arts Commission should make a recommendation to at least staff for approval of it.
Okay, thank you, Director Dropkin. I would say on the heels of that comment, I would be inclined to support a motion that would include a condition of approval that the Arts Commission be the final decision body on any would-be mural, as long as it conforms to all the other conditions about no depiction, so on and so forth. I'm happy to hear everyone's thoughts, though, before we move along. Commissioner Zick.
If they don't have a charter and a process for approval, us deferring to them makes no sense to me. It should come back to us for approval, and then if in the interim there's a process and a charter established for them, then maybe we change that.
Do you think there's a middle ground there to where Arts Commission would have a first pass and then we would just check it for form, given our guidelines?
Yeah, I'm referring to final approval being here.
Final approval. Director Dropkin, with that extra step, would that seem like something that wouldn't take too long, and just getting Arts Commission approval first, kicking it to us for conformance after them?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe that would be problematic. We would bring it back to the commission for a review. It would not be a public hearing item. It would just be for Planning Commission consideration, unless the commission felt otherwise, which could speed up the process, not require noticing, and basically be able to provide it on any hearing that's coming up.
Okay. Would that suffice for you, Commissioner Zick?
Yeah, if it was on the consent calendar, that wouldn't have to be noticed, correct? Yeah. That'd be the way to handle it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think that's kind of where we're leading. Happy to hear everyone's thoughts, though. Just want to I think the intention is to kick something over to our very bright colleagues on the Arts Commission, because I know that, they might be looking for some projects and this would be perfect for them. Commissioner Andrade?
Yeah, I think, to simplify the project, this opportunity, I mean, couldn't we just allow Arts to approve it with having in hand all the regulations that they need to be taken into consideration, right? No depictions of a weed flower, no word weed, or that kind of stuff. As long as they have the guidelines, I think they would be well equipped to design and approve art, as they are the arts.
Yeah, I know it's interesting because we have belt and suspenders for our aspect of planning, which is no depiction, but then there is no art standard. So I think that's where things get a little mucky.
And we have excellent city staff that would be on that commission and that hearing to make sure that we are checking off all the boxes and certifying, just to kind of simplify. The applicants have been on wait for 3 years,
For
adding
sure.
another red tape.
Yeah. I think if anything, this is just to, make sure that the brilliance of our colleagues shines through for those that are on the Arts Commission. And I don't see much of a hang up if it comes to us on consent a week or two later, that it's not noticed. We don't need to make a big deal of it. We can just take it on consent. Does that sound okay? Okay. All right. Anyone else? Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, which side, I think I missed this, is this proposed mural on?
Facing the 7th
Freeway.
Street.
Facing the freeway. So I'm wondering, based on the response to my question from the church item of previous meetings, the response was the staff would conduct a visibility study and see if it's visible from our public right-of-way. Could we just apply that same standard here? I don't remember if that art had a condition that specifically said that it would have to be approved by the Arts Commission. I don't remember what the exact process was for that. So I would appreciate consistency in our arts approval processes. So I would just want whatever we had before.
Sure, we could make sure we're consistent.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Martinez. Anything further?
No.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. I think we'll move things along. I'll go ahead and make a motion to find that the project is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, CEQA Guidelines, Section 15301, Class 1, existing facilities, and approved planning application 22-23, subject to the conditions of approval, with an additional condition of approval that stipulates that the Arts Commission will be brought in to review the project, and subsequently their decision will be put on consent calendar item for us unless otherwise stipulated. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Zik. Thank you, Commissioner Zik. I will say it's been a while since we've heard cannabis. We've been into other things recently, so I had to kind of brush the dust off this thing. It's a beautiful project, exterior, interior. It looks nice. I think it's exciting. It's a good location. I think you've taken note of the recent changes as far as where the city's at now with having revisited the cannabis ordinance, and a lot of that seems to be in line, if not everything to be in line. And you addressed that in your discussion. I think the fact that you want to add to the artistic aspect of the city is really exciting, because after all, we are the city of the arts. So we're looking forward to more murals and more artistic depictions. At this particular time, as we're developing the art standards, we're at this kind of interesting inflection point where we're trying to make sure that that the art conforms with planning standards as well. So hopefully you can understand the sentiment about wanting to bring it through the process. And it's my intention that it happens very quickly, and it's not going to be an additional layer of red tape for you after 3 years. So that's all I have to say. So thank you for applying and thinking of Costa Mesa. Commissioner Zik?
So I'll be supporting the motion. After 23 cannabis CUPs approved, I'm pleasantly surprised to see that so many people showed up. Tells me that you're committed to your business. you're excited about your business. The supporters who spoke were articulate about their support of your business. I'm not generally a big supporter of cannabis, but I'm a supporter of good business operators, and you all come across quite clearly as that. I thought it was really nice that Shauna had that character witness come forward. Matt, you need to work on one of those at your next presentation. Good luck.
Thanks, Commissioner Zick. Anyone else wish to speak to this motion? Commissioner Rojas.
I'll talk. I just want to echo what you guys are saying. I'm very excited about your design and your artistic contribution to the city. I think the location is phenomenal. I think there isn't anything about this that I don't like. And I wanted to say that out loud because for others that are applying as well, this is how you do it. All right. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rojas. Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Anna, if we could call the question. Did we just clear the board? Okay.
That motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you, Anna. That decision is final unless appealed to the City Council within 7 days. Thank you and good luck. I see no old business or new business, which brings us to departmental reports, starting with our famous engineer, Mr. Yang. Mr. Yang.
Thank you, Chairman Arith. For the Public Works reports, both Commissioner Martinez and Vice Chair Tola kind of stole my thunder, so it's better repeating because they're significant. So tomorrow on Tuesday, we have our Santa Ana Avenue community outreach meeting. We'll talk about the bike lanes and parking as well for that project, and the community is welcome to join. And it will be at Kaiser Elementary School starting at 6 p.m. And also on Thursday, we have our Planning Commission not the Planning Commission. Parks and Community Services, our PACSA Commission meeting. We'll talk about the Ketchum-Leibold Park and also the Shalimar Park design projects. It will be presented to both the PACS Commission and also to the public. And we also will invite everyone from the public, and they can also join by Zoom as well. So that's for this Thursday, the 27th at 6 p.m. So that's it for the Public Works reports, and I defer it back to the chair.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yang. Director Drapkin.
Nothing tonight, Chair.
All right, thank you. City Attorney, Mr. Preziosi.
Nothing this evening, Chair.
All right, thank you, Mr. Preziosi. Thanks for joining us this evening. We will now adjourn. Thanks.